Be of two minds to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Let's see if I can do this with a straight face given this bizarre filter that I'm using with my bouncing bald heads. So today our idiom, our expression is be of or be in two minds. I've only ever heard it of to be of two minds, but originally I think it was the earlier version was probably to be in two minds. This is one of those expressions that and idioms that dates back to the 16th century. In 1530s, Johann Paulsgrove Paulsgrove, I think it was, wrote that I am of diverse minds, spelled differently, of course. But the 1800s, it was used by a lot of different authors, but the number of minds changed. It wasn't necessarily two minds. There were as many as 20 minds mentioned in some versions of this expression. It, of course, means to be unable to decide, to not make up our mind, to be indecisive, to be puzzled, to be hesitant, to be not ready to make a decision about something. Now, how do we use this to build and supersize our business? I use it, and I will admit that I used to be, and I still am often, of more than one mind when it comes to making a decision or a choice, because I like to switch around my slight ADHD and turn that into an advantage by using that to see the situation, see the decision I have to make from different points of view, from different perspectives. So my hesitance to make a decision sometimes is me considering other possibilities, looking for other options, other alternatives. Now, that's just my tricky way of dealing with myself. But we always want to, especially when we're growing and building our and supersizing our business, look for different possibilities. Very seldom is there just one or two solutions to a problem or to a challenge that we're facing. There's usually multiple ones, but sometimes we feel like we're boxed into a corner and we have to do this or that. Whenever I catch myself thinking that there's only two options, I do this or I'm going to fail, or I'm in an absolute situation where I have to decide between two alternatives, I will force myself to stop, use a different decision-making tool, which I'll share a couple of my favorite ones in a second, to come up with different alternatives and different possibilities. Now, the one area in our business and in our life, for the most part, we don't want to vacillate. We don't want to let people doubt that we're 100% confident and sure about, is that we are all in when it comes to building and growing and supersizing the business that we've selected to be in. Everyone in our organization, including us leading by example, need people to know that we are 100% committed to creating this business, making this business grow, creating what it is that we want to see in the world. But other than that, and even how we actually implement that will change over time, because the world is always changing. Our business, the environment, everything is always changing, and we need to be flexible enough to change right along with us. Well, some of my favorite decision-making tools, because whenever we're faced with a problem, a challenge, or a decision, we need tools that help us make that decision. And I teach in our annual challenge and share in our annual challenge a couple of my favorite decision-making tools and our ability to choose among different alternatives, right? You can't compare apples to apples. So you have to have a process, or apples to oranges. Hello. You have to have a process for doing that. And one of my favorites is Head, Heart, and Intuition, where I add a scale and we rate different options based on how our heart and we feel about it, what our intuition and our gut is saying about it, and then what our head is saying about it, intellectually and subjectively. What are the positives and negatives about this particular solution? Another one is what I call the urine analysis, and that's we rate the different alternatives on urgent, resources required, important, necessary, and how much energy or effort is required to actually implement a particular solution. But my all-time favorite, I learned from my dad when I was a little girl, and that is the plus or minus decision-making tool. It's when we write the problem or the situation on the top of the page, a plus and a minus on each side, draw a line down the middle, and then just start brainstorming out what are the advantages and the disadvantages or the pluses and minuses of making that decision. And that is usually the final, believe it or not, that's usually the final decision-making tool that I use when I have to choose among alternatives. And I say, or if I'm deciding, do I do this thing or not for my business? Do I align with this strategic partner or not? Do I bring this person in as a speaker on my podcast, etc.? I use that, the plus and minus, and I'm to the point where I can do that one in my head. But for bigger things, I will sit down with a piece of paper and write it down like I have since I was a little girl. So, decision making, all in, use being of more than one mind when you're hesitating to decide something. There's a reason for that. So don't just pick something. Actually consider, why are you struggling with making this choice, making this decision? We do it all the time, every day. If we're hiring somebody and everything on paper looks awesome, but our gut is telling us, I just feel like there's something off about this. Dig deeper, do more homework, figure it out before you actually make that hiring decision or choice. And do that with all your decisions and choices without delaying, because building and supersizing our business, it's important that we are quick and agile and able to make decisions quickly, and able to move our business ahead. All right, that is our topic for today. I can't look at my bouncing heads anymore. Have you heard this expression? Have you used this expression? If so, share in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with only one head for another interesting mental well-being related idiom to coincide with the annual challenges here. Have a great day. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, bye.